Hi, I'm Vicky. Technically, I'm what's known as a PhD physicist. But now what I do is I tend to use my physics in order to make lots of different business decisions. And I work in a defence company, and there's lots of different opportunity to use my science, not only to understand what we do, but also how we're going to take it forward into the future. I think for me, the fact that we're still having to have an International Day of Women in Science shows how far we've got to go. When I first started out in science, I never ever would have joined a Women in Science network because I didn't see the value of it. I just wanted to be judged on who I was and what I delivered, not the fact I was female. And I think that we still have a long path, and that's why now I'm really passionate about joining women in type organisations, because we need to nurture it. We need to have that diversity. We need to make sure that we are truly harnessing everybody, and it's about everybody being equal, having that equal opportunity to do what they want to do. And that's why I think we need days like this. There's lots of different elements to science, and don't just assume because you don't have a science degree that you can't do science. One of the best project managers I have ever worked with was actually a historian. She loved science, and what she wanted to do was to be able to work in that field, but that tenacity that she had as a historian to understand how to do research, what it meant, how you presented it in a way that could actually be understood by a customer, meant she was my best project manager. So my advice would be just go for it. There's lots of different avenues. Look at what you find interesting. If you find something interesting, then you'll succeed. And go and find somebody to talk to. LinkedIn is a fantastic tool. Just say, I'm really keen to get involved in this and move into this direction in science. I bet you'll get somebody that's willing to talk to you, because most of us who are in science are absolutely passionate about what we do. So I'm a physicist, and one of the key skills you learn as a physicist is how to be a critical thinker. So really understanding what's at the heart of a problem, how you then join different things together to come up with a plan and pursue it and drive it forward. And those skills absolutely I use in a business context. And that ability to go and do research, to understand something, again, in a business environment is really important. So those skills I'm using all the time. I also work in a very technical company. We've got lots of really great scientists and engineers. So when it comes to communicating with them, working with them, understanding what they're doing, having that common background is actually really important. So although that, I'm the great unwashed because I'm in management, they do actually respect the fact that I understand what they're doing. So we have a very different level of conversation as well. So I was thinking on this one because I've got children. They are 14 and 16. And when I came back into the workplace, having had them, there was a lot of well, what are you doing here? Why are you wanting to work full time? And there was no accommodation for having kids at that point in time. And although things have changed and there's far more about flexible working and how you actually make sure that women are nurtured through that stage of their lives and their careers, whether they want to go part-time or work full-time, I think COVID's been an interesting time, because what's shown that is although we've put all these accommodations in as businesses to help women through that, it's still showing that women are taking the bulk of the childcare that's going on at the moment. So I still think we've got a long way to go. And I still think that women are probably still feeling the way that I was. It's a little different for me now because my kids are older, so homeschooling's not the challenge. So I think that's still going to be a challenge, and some of that is down to the people that are in senior levels in the business making assumptions, that bias towards, well, women must be doing the childcare. But I think also as men themselves have children, recognise they need to be taking part of it. It will change, but we've still got a path. So I think there has been a lot of change. So if I take when I started in the defence industry 21 years ago, We did have senior women, and we've had some great senior scientists, fellows in the company who were absolutely top of their game in their field. But then if I looked across the management layer, there really weren't many women in that space. There are definitely more women now, and there's a lot more active understanding of how we're going to get women up the career chain. And I think, to me, it's like diversity and inclusion piece. The visible one is having ethnic minorities and having women. But the key thing for me, the reason why it is because of that different voice. So whether you're a man or a woman, that different way of thinking. And I think for me, that understanding now about what diversity really means and really helping people express themselves and taking a notice of the quieter voices in the room as well. And that's been the biggest change through that time. And I think that understanding of there are so many different choices that people make. So not having one route, one way of doing things, again, I think that's a really healthy dynamic that we've now got in our industry. Now, this I found an interesting question, I have to say. So when I was going through school, I had a female physics teacher. And she was relatively young. She'd just come out of Brunel University, and she really did inspire me to study physics, because I didn't know what I wanted to do with my career. I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life or anything. I knew I wanted to go to uni. So she was very much the one that started me off. And then in terms of having a role model, I don't have a specific role model. I've got lots of different people that I admire and look up to. And a lot of it for me is those people that are making a choice. They're saying, actually, do you know what? At this stage, I want to be at home with my kids. And I'm going to park my career for now. I'm going to be at home with my kids, and then I'm going to think of what I want to do. So I've seen a lot of my colleagues that they've taken that choice, and for example, they decide they don't want to come back into the workplace in the traditional way. They want to be teaching assistants. They've completely changed the way they do, and I really admire that. And again, there's other women that I've seen that have decided, no, I do want to continue working full time. This is the direction I want to go, and they've absolutely gone for it gung ho. And for me, it's those women that have had the confidence to make a life choice and going with it and not being suppressed by what society says they should do. And that's what we should celebrate, because actually that's the big achievement us as women have had in the workplace, is we now do have choices. There's lots of things that we need to also sort out. We've still got a long path to go on. But for me, they're the role models.